Good, good. Our next guests are here to announce a very special commitment. They are, and please welcome, all the way from the Macon-Bibb County, Mayor Robert Reichert and County Manager Charles Coney. All right, we've got others. Sarita Hill, Executive Director of the Macon-Bibb County Economic Opportunity Council, Incorporated, and Dr. James Bumpus, Director of Small Business Affairs for also the Macon-Bibb County. This is the Macon-Bibb County Contingency.
Hello, Atlanta. We are your neighbor to the south, Macon-Bibb County, about 85 miles from Atlanta, but some say a world apart. But we are delighted to be here in Atlanta at the Operation Hope Global Forum again this year, and to be part of a very special announcement for you today. Ordinarily, you find Operation Hope efforts in larger cities. We have made the case, and thankfully, successfully so, that despair is not limited to larger populations cities. Despair can be just as prevalent, in fact, if not more prevalent, in smaller and mid-sized cities. Macon is a city of 155,000 people, and we have convinced Operation Hope to come to Macon, so we're going to be Macon Operation Hope active in Macon, Georgia, and we think it's going to lead to great things. This is enlightened self-interest on our part, because we know that despair can often lead to frustration. Frustration can often lead to anger and resentment. And anger and resentment can often lead to violence. So it's an enlightened self-interest that brings us here today, because we want to have financial literacy, youth empowerment programs in Macon-Bibb County so that we bring hope to folks in mid-sized cities, and we hope by deploying Operation Hope in Macon-Bibb County, we can create a model that can then be replicated in other smaller and mid-sized cities throughout the country. I want to call on Sarita Hill, who is the Executive Director of the Macon-Bibb County Economic Opportunity Council, who is our lead financial sponsor locally. Sarita, thank you for being here.
Thank you all, thank you all. At Macon-Bibb County EOC, one of our mottos is helping people, changing lives, building families. So what other way to do it than to bring Operation Hope to Macon? We started out, I came last year and was just overwhelmed. I just knew that we had to have it in Macon. And we reached out, we were turned down 2 times for funding. And the last time we went back to the state, actually had them to come over we was invited to the King Center, and they actually came over, and she just told me it was time to put a proposal in. So we put our proposal in, and we were funded to bring Operation Hope to Macon. So we're excited about bringing it, and we know that it's going to change the community.
Well, we've also promised Operation Hope that we wouldn't bring them in and leave them alone. This is going to be a partnership, and the local government is going to be joined at the hip. Charles Coney is next. He's our Assistant County Manager and can talk about our commitment to Operation Hope.
Thank you, Mayor. Many people are asking, what does government have to do with all this? Government has everything to do with it, because we have a responsibility to the citizenry. So we are delighted to set a model, hopefully, of a partnership that is supported by government, undergirded by government, but is really more so led by the private sector. We are so thankful for our primary sponsor this year, who came last year, and it made a difference for us, because as the government, we're dealing with things like stormwater, we're dealing with blight, we're dealing with budgets, we're dealing with the norm. However, we did not want to forget about the people. We recognize that we must rebuild the people in such a manner that they help us rebuild the community. Operation Hope was a natural for us, and we're delighted to be here on stage. I'll allow you to know that we have assigned someone directly inside of our government to be responsible for this. Dr. James Bumpus comes to us as our Director of Small Business Affairs with the champion and the leadership for our local Operation Hope.
Thank you, Charles. As has already been stated, we are really excited about Operation Hope inside Macon. And it's a partnership with Macon-Bibb County as well as with Mercer University. And we have some of our students from Mercer University here volunteering today. It's a partnership with the Macon Housing Authority as well as with EOC and other private sector partners. And so we are just overjoyed and delighted to be working and partnering with Operation Hope to create 700 credit score individuals and 700 credit score communities. We see this transforming Macon-Bibb County in unique and revolutionary ways. I'm also delighted to share with you the team members of Operation Hope, staff members of Operation Hope who are working with us at the Buck Melton Center in our Hope operation inside Macon. Ms. Chanel James is here. As well as Mr. DeQuanus Harvey.
Thank you, Dr. Bumpus. Thank you, Charles and Sarita. Our time is up here, but wish us well. And next year, I hope we can come back and tell you what a huge success that Operation Hope has been in a mid-sized city. Because as I say, if we're successful in Macon-Bibb County, then hopefully that model can be replicated and brought to other communities across the country, small and mid-sized. Because like I say, despair is not limited to large cities. Despair is proportional. A smaller number of people in a smaller population can have the same kind of effect and pull-down effect. So we want people to have ownership, we want young people to be empowered, and we want people to learn financial literacy so that they learn the principles, have better ownership, and help us build a stronger Macon-Bibb County. Thank you all for letting us come.
Thank you.